before I start, if you don't know about Creative Equals, we're a global inclusion consultancy, and I'm really excited today to reveal our new purpose. And our new purpose is this: we drive growth through inclusion, equity, and diversity. And we do three things. We drive inclusive cultures, growing great people. We drive inclusive marketing, so really thinking about innovation, really thinking about campaigns, really thinking about audiences and supply chains. And we grow inclusive communities. And today is, in fact, the very last day that, if you know anybody who's been out of work for more than 12 months, this is in terms of if you're a female, non-binary, non-gender conforming, creative, it's the very last day to apply. We've run our Creative Comeback program around the globe in the US, in London, and recently in India, and we've put like about 170 people back into work over this time, so we really drive inclusive communities. And the profits of this conference today are going towards a community program that we're building for creators with disabilities, so watch this space. So across today, or across my talk, I'm just going to tell you about four things. The number one thing is where we are on female representation in creative director roles. Number two, we're going to look at all the skills that we need to really thrive in 2025. Number three, we're going to look at what our people need from us as leaders and what they're expecting from businesses right now. And number four, we're going to really explore the kind of traits that we need as leaders in 2022. So, to number one, where are we at? So I have some really good news. Once upon a time when I first started my career, like many decades ago, way back in 1999, in 2003, only 3% of the world's creative directors were women. Now that number, by the time I left my job, had gone up to all of 12% back in 2015, 2016. So it had just inched up like 10%, like not even 1% year on year. But since we've been doing this conference with this amazing group of people, since we've been running our Future Leaders list, since we've had the incredible work of groups like She Says, Kerning the Gap, Ladies, Wine and Design, well, guess what? Look at that. We have gone up to 27%. And that rise has happened phenomenally, even in the last couple of years. So 27%. That means that we might achieve 50-50 by the year 2030. Now, I thought I'd probably be dead before we actually even achieve that goal, but we're going to get there. And this really compares with the flat line that is women in C-suite roles. These are the IPA's figures, really sort of sitting around the 30% mark, slightly going down and then slightly going up again. And you know that there's going to be a but coming along right here. But the challenge is when we look at that data and we look at it intersectionally, when we look at it through the lens of race and ethnicity, when we look at through the lens of disability, LGBTQIA+, and trans representation, when we look at it in terms of women of faith, when we look at it in terms of, God forbid, women over 50, the numbers are still really rock bottom. So we really have to think about equity. We really have to think about driving this through our businesses. And we sit on a database of like 5,000 people, and we cut our data especially for this conference today. And in terms of a lack of equity on the shop floor, what we see is women are 12% less likely to have access to key assignments and key briefs and new business pitches. If I'm a Black, Asian, multi-ethnic woman in the sector, I believe 12% less that I have equal opportunities available to me, and I believe 20% less that there is bias in salaries. And guess what? They're right. And the other thing we have to really consider is all our businesses are a microcosm of what goes on in the macrocosm. And what we've seen over the last couple of years, particularly over the last 6 months, is a huge anti-trans movement in the UK. And of course in the States, we've seen the Don't Say Gay campaign. And actually out of our data, one of the things that wasn't surprising but kind of is that the people who are witnessing and experiencing inappropriate behavior in the workplace are specifically the LGBTQ+ correspondents. So, as leaders of businesses, as people in the workplace, we have to be really mindful of what's going on the news, because you can be rest assured it's triggering for the people within your business. So we have a phrase at Creative Equal, which is, who makes the work shapes the work. And we're seeing a direct correlationship between the inclusive comms audits that we do for brands and the people that sit in the teams. So the challenge with not having a diverse community within your innovation, tech, or creative tables is that you just don't get that kind of rich mix of work coming through. And so this is what this conference is here to change. So, second point, moving on to the 5 key skills that every leader needs for 2025, or our teams need. Number 1, analytical thinking and innovation. Number 2, active learning and learning strategies, really thinking about growth mindset in team. Number 3, complex problem solving. Number 4, critical thinking and analysis. And I love this. Number 5, creativity, originality and innovation. And that's all of you here today. And of course, we can't have innovation without having creativity and ideas and thinking. So those are those are the 5 top skills needed. And of course, for us, and I'm kind of like the person you never want to sit beside at dinner because everything comes back to diversity, equity, and inclusion, is that diversity and equity and inclusive teams drive all of those things. We see that companies that are more innovative are if they've got a diverse and inclusive team, they are 35% more likely to come up with an innovation. In terms of critical thinking and analysis and problem solving, they are 85% more likely to make good decisions. Now, the challenge we have is with the diversity word. That has become a byword for other. We'll often get the call, oh, we want some diverse talent. And of course, we're like, oh, what do you mean by diverse talent? That's the next question. But of course, diversity means humanity in all its glory. What we have to understand is, again, that word equity. We have to understand who has power and privilege in any system and create those access to opportunities. So number 3, let's have a real think about what people need from our businesses right now, because our data tells us that 33% of people are thinking about leaving their job. So when I look at this room, that's like about all these people in this room. And of course, the cost of replacing somebody to rehire is between about 30 and 50K. It's really expensive by the time somebody leaves your business, leaves their role, and you have to recruit and hire. So we cut our data around 3 core drivers: happiness, retention, and net promoter score. So the number 1 thing that makes people happy at work is this idea that I can fulfill my potential. Number 2 is I feel valued in my role. Number 3 is our company really looks after the health and well-being of our employees. Number 4 is I feel that the work that I'm doing is meaningful. And building on that in terms of retention, people want a great relationship with their line manager, just a great relationship. And they want to really share the values and beliefs of their company. Going on to Net Promoter Score, all those things come into play again. And of course, people want leaders that have set a vision that really motivates them. Because, the fact is, we've all been through a lot, haven't we? We've all been through a lot. We've all had to ask ourselves, who are we? Who do we stand for? Who do we stand against? What meaning do we want from our lives? What will be our legacy? These are the questions we've asked ourselves. So it's not surprising that we really demand so much more from our workplaces. We demand meaning. We demand purpose. We want to be able to come into work and really fulfill our potential. And so thinking about that, we're going to move on to number 3, and to really think about, what do we need? What are the traits that leaders need today? Now, this data comes from Deloitte. And of course, they talk about the 6 C's of inclusive leadership. They talk about courage. They talk about curiosity, cultural intelligence, cognizance of bias. It's all about collaboration, the way we work together, and it's about commitment. But of course, we believe, and what we see from our data, there are things that are missing here. And what we would like to build on in terms of Deloitte's 6 C's is these 3 C's. Number 1, connection. We want to feel connected to our businesses, to our leaders, to the people around us. Connection is just so important. And of course, the next key trait is creativity. We want to be able to problem solve. We want to be able to come up with original thinking and ideas within our business. And that kind of thinking is going to get us out of some of the challenges that we face today. oh my goodness, we have like an economic downturn, we have like war in Europe, we have so much going on right now. We've been through a pandemic. We've seen the Black Lives Matter movement explode out of America into all our businesses. And of course, as leaders, the other thing that people really want from us, the other thing that they really want, and it would be really nice, by the way, I'm a copywriter by trade, so of course we would have really liked a ninth C, and it would be really easy to use the word compassion. But actually the word here is empathy, very different from compassion. And in your programs, if you grab a copy of your program right now, you can turn to the couple of back pages, and we've got a tool for you all to take away. It's called a leadership empathy map. And so I want you to just quickly in your minds think of somebody that you're having a challenge with right now. And it could be also just helping you think about your boss, somebody in your team. So the empathy map works like this. We think about who we are empathizing with, what situation are they in, and what is their role? What are they hearing at work? What are they hearing from you? What are they hearing secondhand around the team? What are they seeing at work? What are they seeing within your immediate environment? What are they saying or doing? And what are the challenges they're facing? This is a great question, actually. Who in your team do they distrust? It might even be you. So then you have to really question what is going on with your relationship. What are their fears? But then thinking about what are their hopes and dreams, and then thinking about how you can motivate and support them. And just beyond making money. So for example, one thing that might motivate them is mastering their key skills. So it might be just giving them that extra stretch assignment or that extra brief, or it might be thinking about how you can address the cost of living with them. So it's a really brilliant tool, and I really urge you to take it away and just empathy map out your whole team. You might want to also do this with your mother or other people in your life as well. It really helps you sit in that place with them and really think about what's going on for them. So empathy, a really key trait. And so 3 things to just sum up there. Number 1, we have to celebrate the wins. And look at this. We have absolutely doubled the amount of female creative directors in the sector over the last 6 years. That is a massive win, and that is thanks to everybody in this room and the power that we all have to make change. Number 2, I'd say the key skill to really focus on is innovation, because we really need to problem solve for all the things that are coming up. And number 3 is, of course, gratitude and to be thankful. And so I really want to thank all our sponsors today, particularly the News UK crew. When everybody pulled their diversity, equity, and inclusion budgets at the beginning of the pandemic, News UK stayed fast, and they've totally invested. They've done some transformative things within their business. Snapchat, who we've worked with running a creative council for the last couple of years, unfortunately, their speaker was meant to come over from the US last night, and they have contracted COVID, so we don't have the Snapchat panel today, but we have something else that's really exciting instead. Huge shout out to major players who will be doing a talk later on today, to our agency partners, to Havas, Zone, VML, Y&R, RGA, to Pinterest, who have also done some very transformational things on their platform, Gunnercook, our legal counsel, and Oyster Catchers, Richard Robinson. You'll hear from him later today. And then, another thank you to Crispin Porter and Bogowski, to Twitter, who you'll hear from later today, the phenomenal Nikki Kemp from Creative Brief. And then we've got all the ERG I call them like they're kind of like the employee resource group networks within the sector. Because, if you're the only person of your type in your company, there's these great community groups that exist, and they're doing incredible work. There is advertising, who run the LGBTQ awards. There is Media for All, and you can see Dino in the room today. If you want to talk to Dino about Media for All, they champion the Black, Asian, multi-ethnic network and have an amazing mentoring program, along with people of colour and creativity. There's She Says, there's Bloom, there's Wackle, there's the Valuable 500 who do some amazing work around the disability space. Are you here, Valuable 500? Over there in the room, give us another wave. So if you want to talk about how your company can really champion the disability agenda, they're doing some phenomenal work. Of course, 15% of us will be disabled at any one time, and 40% of us will get disabled as we grow older. To the membership bodies that we work with, to the Unstereotype Alliance, to ISBA, to the Conscious Advertising Network, to BEMA, and to the Advertising Association. Now, the Advertising Association are here today. We've got Sharon, we've got Bina. They've been running the All-In Census. 16,000 people responded to their census, and they have a six-point action plan for you all to take on board. So do go and have a chat to them in the break. Also, a big shout out to the IPA and the Association of Publishers. Two last thank yous. To Campaign, who are our media partners for today. You'll see some stories breaking on Campaign today. And to Flex Events, our wonderful events partners, who I think we can all agree have done the most beautiful job for the space in the space today. And lastly, I want to thank our incredible team, and you're going to get to meet them on stage today. I'm so lucky every day to work with this incredible bunch of phenomenal people. And in case you didn't realize, I'm not very funny, and I'm a bit of a data geek. But the really good news is our next speaker is a very funny comedian. She won the Venus Awards at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. She's just been on Celebrity Mastermind and absolutely bossed it. And you're going to see her on Channel 4 very soon. She's going to be like a megastar. And I'm going to hand the baton over to Sophie Duker.